glowing figures appearing from nowhere, invisible hands pulling people away from danger, and miracles that you might deny until you see clear evidence. You are on the Top Facts channel, and today we have gathered footage in which divine intervention or mystical entities materialize in the real world. Call them angels or demons, but these shots are absolutely stunning. What we cannot see, the camera can capture, and animals can sense. Let us begin the viewing. These were simply legs walking on their own. I did not notice any body or head there. That is how the eyewitness describes what he saw on the surveillance footage installed along a hiking trail. The camera recorded something inexplicable. Strange, long-legged figures, known as the night wanderers of Fresno, were spotted on the trail at night. These atypical creatures had no heads or arms. They moved using only long, thin legs and appeared semi-transparent. The scene looked like an episode from a horror movie. Honestly, I do not know whether I believe in such things, but after watching the recorded material, I will definitely refrain from any nighttime strolls. In the year 2020, on the Filipino show Real Daredevils, a segment was aired showing a man diving into a raging river to rescue a dog in distress. The dog was saved, but something strange happened shortly thereafter. A woman standing nearby saw a glowing humanoid figure emerge from the water and hover above the river until it dissolved into the air. This eyewitness footage may convince you that some spirit performed its final act of bravery at that moment before moving on to the subtle realm. It remains to be wondered whether these events were connected to the rescue or merely a coincidence. Inside an empty museum, the camera caught something odd. In the silence, a transparent figure first simply stood in the middle of the hall, but then it became more frightening. It began to move, sliding through the space as if wanting to claim it for itself. It was not just a blurred shadow, although we cannot clearly see whether the figure had legs. Even if it was a ghost, it definitely had a very important person's pass to all the halls. What do you think it could have been? It seems like just another amateur recording of a nighttime street, where a few late-night passers-by wander through a neighborhood and end up on a homeowner's surveillance camera. Nothing strange about that, right? But wait. Now, you will see that not everything is as it seems. As this pedestrian approaches, his legs begin to vanish gradually, and then the rest of him disappears into thin air until the entire figure dissolves. Oddly, he looked like a real person at first. Yet when the homeowner questioned his neighbors and showed them this video, no one could identify the figure, and strangely, he did not appear on any of the neighbors' cameras at the same time. Are we dealing with a technical glitch or a ghost in the night? These shots will make you question everything you know about reality. They were filmed in Honduras during a baptism by the riverside. Two people were participating in the sacred ritual while relatives cheered them on from a distance. Suddenly, something unusual appeared above their heads. At first glance, these aerial shadows resembled mist or water vortices, but the river was far too calm for such phenomena. If we speak of faith, one might suggest that in such a sacred moment, divine beings could manifest, because these translucent, luminous shadows did not dissolve, but instead took on human form. Judging by how delighted and jubilant the observers were, they saw it too, and thus we have witnessed a supernatural event. A woman casually reviewed her surveillance footage when she noticed something intriguing. A dark shadow standing on an empty street. No one could have cast it. There was not a single person around. I will tell you more. It was not just a shadow. Even watching the video, an unpleasant aura emanated from it. The woman was frightened by that sensation. She admitted that she now feels uneasy at night. Who knows what else might occur on deserted streets? On the 14th of June, 2018, a woman filmed her little son riding his bicycle near an English family estate, a location known for its legends. What began as a simple family video turned into something eerie. As the boy pedaled energetically, his mother noticed something remarkable in one of the windows of the mansion across the way. At first, she thought it was merely a reflection or a shadow, but when she zoomed in, she saw a woman with her hair styled in a fashion completely out of place for the modern era. If you look closely, you will understand that this was not an ordinary onlooker, but rather a silhouette from the distant past. Do you believe in ghosts that inhabit old residences? This happened in the American town of Parma in the state of Ohio. At a gas station, many observed a peculiar mass of energy swirling in the air, phosphorescing with a bluish glow. The station owner was so shocked that he reviewed the footage for more than 30 minutes. Just when he thought it must be an optical illusion, the figure began to move. It hovered for a while and then crashed onto a car's windshield. Witnesses endlessly debated the incident. Was it just a plastic trash bag on the surveillance footage, or some other substance? Nobody could explain it. Others swore it was an angel, but I wonder what an angel would be doing at a gas station. That viral surveillance clip frightened me too. It made many people ask what cameras and animals can see that is invisible to the human eye. A family decided to monitor their cat and installed a tracking system in the house. At one point, they saw that the cat was afraid of someone or something standing opposite it. Yet the camera did not capture any intruder in the house. Strangely, however, a door slammed by itself. It opened and closed as if someone left. Now, we can assert with confidence that cats perceive and feel more acutely than humans and precise instruments. They can recognize a ghost, while we cannot, so perhaps it is worth owning at least one cat. One late night, a dog's frantic barking drew its owner's attention, and at first they thought it was chasing a stray dog passing by their home. But no, it was something else. As the surveillance camera recorded, the dog became interested in strange shadows. You can see that someone's dark legs were running across the yard, yet the creature itself was nowhere to be seen. Since there are things we cannot explain or see with the naked eye, I believe this was not a trick of the mind. The dog certainly felt something, and the camera saw and recorded it. Who could sleep soundly after seeing that? Certainly not me, and probably not that dog either. Here these guys are looking up in astonishment. They must have seen something unusual through that window. The phenomenon looks so unreal it could have been filmed for a fantasy movie. A mysterious figure, outlined against a sunset sky, flaps its wings. And you too would probably shout, "An angel!" This figure was large enough to stand out against the orange sky, and we cannot deny that it moved deliberately, not like some object carried by the wind. In September 2016, a quiet forest village was shaken by what occurred. It all happened like in a nightmare film. A local boy was walking along a familiar path through the woods when suddenly a ghostly figure appeared before him. It lunged without warning, as if it had been waiting there. Stricken with terror, he fell to the ground and could not move. Soon after, other villagers began sharing their own chilling encounters with strange entities. What was once a peaceful and tranquil village quickly became the birthplace of rumors and terrifying ghost legends. The only question is how a camera came to be on that forest trail. I have not figured that out yet. Perhaps you know which place this refers to? Gettysburg is an old settlement in the American state of Pennsylvania with a soul-chilling history of its own. The terror of Gettysburg consists of night shadows racing across the road. It is definitely an unwelcome encounter. If you ever find yourself there, avoid nighttime travel. Here is what eyewitness cameras recorded: frantic, dark shadows crossing the terrain in a panic. In case you did not know, this town was the site of a historic battle, the bloodiest in the course of the Civil War in the United States. From the 1st to the 3rd of July, 1863, more than 50,000 soldiers met their demise there, and tens of thousands of horses fell alongside the army. Thousands of the wounded could not recover in nearby hospitals. So many ghostly figures continue to race through the woods and fields. Just know that Gettysburg may not be the best place for nighttime journeys. Have you ever felt as though someone or something pushed you in the void? Just look at this surveillance recording. We see a bodiless substance emerging from this man's body and heading toward another passerby to take its place. I cannot even understand how that could happen, but the man visibly shuddered as if struck. Why would a spirit want to change bodies? Now we do not know what we carry inside and who a random stranger might be. Some people simply cannot resist filming everything they see, even a quiet hospital corridor. Yet even in a hospital ward, the camera can sometimes detect what eludes the human eye. These people did not realize that they had captured something chilling. Beside a patient's bed stood a tall, dark figure that seemed to simply hover. It clearly was not a visitor or a staff member, so who or what awaited by the bed? It is obvious that a hospital is not the calmest place when it comes to paranormal phenomena, so keep that in mind. One night, a woman was crossing the street when a car appeared out of nowhere at high speed. The driver slammed on the brakes, but collision seemed inevitable. Then, in an instant, something unreal occurred. The woman suddenly found herself on the other side of the road, as if she had been thrown there. A surveillance camera focused on the scene and recorded it. Just before she vanished, a dark figure appeared beside her. Both the driver and the woman, later, were shocked by what happened. But what do you think? It was her guardian angel or some other force? To be honest, I am not sure I want to know the exact answer. Sometimes ghosts and spirits behave rather benevolently. Hard to believe, but after you see this, you may change your mind. A surveillance camera in Seoul captured a man being followed by someone clearly ill-intentioned. A few seconds later, the pursuer lunged at him to rob him, but from nowhere a dark shadow appeared, frightening the attacker. The criminal fled, possibly never understanding who or what came to defend the man. Had it not been for the camera, we might never have seen even a shadow of the assailant. Look at this incredible moment. A woman with a stroller was crossing the road when a car hurtled toward them out of nowhere. At that moment, something magical happened. A flash of light appeared beside them, and in an instant, they were safely on the other side of the street. A driver of a three-wheeled motor scooter was crossing a road at night when a truck ran a red light and came head-on. Our unfortunate driver had no time to brake or swerve. The situation was destined to end in disaster. But just when all seemed lost, a bright light suddenly appeared beside them. In the video, we can make out a human figure in the very center of the event. Who this mysterious hero was is unclear, but a second later, the scooter driver stood unhurt on the opposite side of the road. We can only wonder whether this was some earthly person, which seems unlikely, or a savior from another world. Just try moving that vehicle with the driver manually and timing it yourself. After watching that clip, I am honestly afraid even to drive past a deserted forest during the day. One man made a decision that shocked him for life when he was driving alone down a forest road at night. His car suddenly died for no reason, and fortunately, he had the sense not to leave the cabin. Instinct served him well. Something ahead was clearly amiss. He managed to capture a white figure crossing the road. It resembled a witch, and then it vanished into the forest. I am convinced that this was not mere coincidence, but something far more eerie and undeniably supernatural. Cemeteries are not the coziest places to visit at night, but sometimes people who find themselves there unwillingly have much to tell. A groundskeeper who stayed late at a cemetery began to notice strange glowing orbs floating in the air around the graves. At first, he thought his imagination was playing tricks after a day of strenuous labor, but as his observations continued, he realized that the orbs appeared every night. They did not move like random light reflections, and so he hypothesized that somehow souls might linger between worlds until their energy fully transforms. Or perhaps these orbs are angels helping them move on to the next realm. Whatever they are, these lights definitely strengthened his belief that the body finds peace in the grave and the soul finds rest. 15 years ago, a quiet hill in the settlement of Tapao in Vietnam became a center of religious pilgrimage, all because there was said to have been a divine apparition. The Virgin Mary descended to earth. At first, many eyewitness accounts simply amazed internet users, but soon mass expeditions followed. She appeared as a massive, luminous figure, not motionless like a statue, but very much alive and hovering above the ground. It is unsurprising that people were ready to travel to the ends of the earth for anything resembling a miracle. Personally, I have my doubts. Why would the Virgin Mary choose to appear where people hold a completely different faith? Every town has a house said to be haunted, because at night, screams can be heard emanating from it. At one such house, several brave souls decided to install cameras to see if they could record anything. Their expectations were more than met. First, a figure emerged in the air and dissolved, but as they approached the gates, it would appear and disappear. It is certain that a human could not be in multiple places at once. Local residents are now convinced that the house is filled with terrifying spirits, and I would definitely advise staying far away from it. On a quiet night, a surveillance camera recorded something extraordinary. A late passerby was walking down the street, and behind him trailed a misty shadow. That alone is enough reason to stop walking alone at night. But experts continue to dispute the authenticity of the footage. Some attribute the effect to technical malfunctions. Yet how is it that the camera sees a ghost while the person feels no pursuit, does not look back, or display any concern? There is much to ponder, is there not? One evening, a dog owner decided to check the surveillance recordings. Expecting nothing unusual, he simply watched the footage. But what he soon saw shocked him. His dog was happily running around the yard at night. But next to it, there was something or someone else. A glowing, transparent shadow in the shape of a dog chasing his pet as though they had been friends for life. It was impossible for any other animals to be in the yard. The space was fully enclosed. Therefore, this was not a real dog, but a ghost. Since the homeowner's dog showed no fear, but rather seemed accustomed to the activity, the owner had to wonder. Perhaps he should investigate the history of the house and uncover what lies behind these strange nightly games. A videographer was casually filming evening clouds from a rooftop when suddenly an astonishing event occurred in the twilight sky. A huge, clearly defined figure resembling an angel appeared before him, and when it unfurled its monumental wings, a thunderclap sounded, and a bright flash of light erupted. The eyewitness felt as though the angel sought to convey a message or express disappointment in humanity. In any case, such a vision would leave anyone bewildered. Do you believe that it is possible to witness such a sight with your own eyes? Tell us in the comments. A surveillance camera captured a strange event, as if a winged, luminous figure fell from the sky. But the moment it touched the ground, it immediately took flight and vanished into the air. The local witnesses were certain that this is how angels descend from heaven. Can you imagine a better piece of evidence of something otherworldly captured on camera? People went mad over it, and honestly, I would too if I saw it in person. A divine being was filmed on camera, leaving internet users in utter bewilderment. A man was filming clouds in the sky from his roof when he suddenly noticed something massive among them, a creature flying directly above his head. At first, he thought it was just a large bird, but the entity was so immense that it overshadowed the light rays. When the footage spread across the network, people could not believe the reality of the scene. It must be added that it hardly looked like a computer graphics trick. There was truly something unusual here. And now, it is up to you to decide how inclined you are to trust such phenomena. This segment will possibly also make you avoid cemeteries at night. A reporter and film crew in an American town were making a report from an old cemetery. At the dawn hour, everything seemed ordinary until someone shouted that a ghost had flashed behind the journalist. As a true professional, she did not interrupt the filming, but the crew could not stop paying attention to it. Something truly supernatural was happening right before their eyes. A curious man decided to test his new drone and found no better place than a cemetery at night. Immediately, something went awry. While the drone was recording the grounds, the operator noticed a luminous figure sitting beside one of the graves. She was clearly engaged in some eerie rituals. But as soon as the drone approached, the man realized that it was not a person, but a completely transparent, bodiless ghost. Once it sensed it was being observed, it rose and vanished into the darkness. Now I do not think that this man will risk going to a cemetery again, or even operating a drone. Have you ever wondered how many ghosts may flit before our eyes without us noticing? Cameras, it turns out, can catch phenomena that our eyes fail to see. Imagine you are reviewing surveillance footage and think you see a neighbor walking by. But if you watch closely, you will notice that as the figure approaches, it almost completely blurs and turns into a ghost. I admit that this could be a technical malfunction, but you and I are not seeing our first segment on this topic. So rest assured, otherworldly phenomena exist, and there are far more of them than you can imagine. One late evening, a man was walking through the lobby heading to his apartment when a terrifying event occurred. From nowhere in the corridor, a smoky, nearly invisible barrier appeared, and he collided with it as if it were solid. Before he could comprehend what was happening, he had to fight. An unknown force grabbed him by the legs and tried to pull him back, but fortunately, he managed to break free from those dire embraces and escape. Now tell me, have you ever felt that someone is hunting your soul? If so, there is a special place for you in the comments section. In the icy winter of 2003, Hampton Court, the country palace of English monarchs in the vicinity of London, became the site of some strange events. The aura of the famous estate was shrouded in an inexplicable mystery. It all began when the heavy fire door swung wide open on its own. One could chalk that up to chance, but it happened twice. Yet the most astonishing sight was a skeletal figure that appeared in the camera footage to slam the doors. No such staff was known to the castle. Who was this, and what transpired during those days? We can only speculate. What if this mysterious ghostly guardian has existed there for centuries? A birthday party for a girl in Japan began splendidly, the evening full of laughter and joy. All the guests gathered around the birthday girl when it was time to blow out the candles on the cake. Nothing seemed unusual at the moment, but when they later reviewed the recording, chills ran down everyone's spine. Behind her appeared a horrific face, as though a spirit stood watching the celebration. How can one know whether this spirit was a timid guest at the party or sought to influence an important moment in the girl's life? In any case, it is frightening that even on your own birthday, you might be under the watchful eye of some spirit rather than guardian angels. A group of vacationers was enjoying time around a campfire, but when they reviewed their amateur footage, they were shocked. From the flames rose a discernible figure, and it even seemed to have wings. It looked like a spirit or something of that kind, and it definitely did not appear friendly. What if it was an evil demon drawn by the fire for its dark purpose? Do you believe that every element has its own spirits? A man from Michigan experienced incredible excitement when a figure resembling an angel flew past his van. Astonished, he sent the photograph to his pastor, who confirmed that it could indeed have been an angel. The man could hardly believe his eyes. The image of the radiant figure hovering above the vehicle made him wonder whether he had witnessed something truly divine. He was caught completely off guard. Do you believe that angels can visit you so casually? St. John Brebeuf, Catholic church in the village of Niles in the state of Illinois, once experienced something incredible, and all of it was captured on camera during a ceremony. Bright lights suddenly appeared on the wall, as though illuminating the event from above. Yet during the service, no one saw anything. The strange phenomenon was recorded only by the surveillance cameras. Many people think that this glow resembled an angelic figure. Could a celestial being have appeared there? Or was it simply a peculiar play of light? In any case, it became a topic of conversation for a long time. If you think angels are just a myth, these shots may change your mind. During filming in a beautiful mosque in Azerbaijan, the operator saw among the worshippers a glowing figure that seemed to radiate a gentle, otherworldly light. It immediately drew the videographer's attention, who began to wonder whether it was a person or a heavenly being. These shots sparked endless debates online. Many were inclined to call the figure a true angel. Will you remain skeptical, or will you give a chance to the miracles that may occur in a sacred space? One night, a medical helicopter was airlifting an injured person from the street to transport them to the hospital. And while the forensic team filmed the scene, something strange appeared on camera. Did you also think you saw a light figure quickly ascend into the sky? During the act of rescue, nobody noticed it. Only later, when experts reviewed the footage, did they notice the strange, glowing substance and conclude it was probably dust from the helicopter. Nevertheless, sadly, the patient died before reaching the clinic. Perhaps this luminous shadow tells us something more. This is how our episode turned out. If you enjoyed it and want to see the next part or something similar, let us know in the comments and give us a like. Subscribe to our channel, and very soon we will release a new episode on another fascinating topic. In the meantime, check out one of our previous videos. Thank you for watching.